Mustafa, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, I can hear you.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alaikum assalam. Should we start? إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا بلد العمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل السافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى أرأيت إن كان على الهدى أو أمر بتقوى صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية أمير المؤمنين وأولاد المعصومين. In these two ayahs, the Surah Teen, Surah number 96, and the start of Surah Alaq, Surah number 97. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Surah Teen, it says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We have created insan from the best, and we guided them. And it's interesting, it says we guided them to accept the deen and be in the rahat taqwa, in the path of appreciation. And we also taught the the Rasul to do the parastation, it is the worshiping, and it would be in the path to Ni'mah and to Jannah. So, inshallah, we are in the last day of Ramadan. Congratulations to all the brothers and sisters of this community and all the Shia brothers and all the brothers in Islam that have finished with the help of Allah, with the lutf and kindness of Allah. There we had a good Ramadan, and I want to, in behalf of myself, my family, and the whole community, say congratulations on being in the way of Allah and doing the prestige, and inshallah Allah accepts your ta'at and in all your acts, and you'll be in safe and protected from all the baliyat and all the sickness. Sadaqallahu al-aliyyul azim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. So after Quran recitation, inshallah, we'll proceed with the program with the children presentation. We have one presenter who will represent name of Allah, Asmaul Husna, and one third video of the video series prepared by the kids of Sunday school. Before Az-Zahra put it on, a couple of quick announcements. Today, after Maulana's lecture and question session, I have announcements about the winners of the Quran recitation program. So please hang around for a little bit, few more minutes after when Maulana's lecture finish and ends with the question and answer session. Then I will give the names of those kids who have done Quran recitation and finished Quran, and we'll talk about those accomplishments, inshallah. So Sister Zahra, you can start with the video.
Inshallah, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is the last series this semester, or during Ramadan, I should say, that the kids presented their videos for the different miracles in Quran. And this topic this week was different foods and fruits and vegetables. So I will share and play that video now. Can you guys see a blue screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Walaikum assalam. How are you? Good. Today we're going to be talking about the fruits and veggies mentioned in the Quran. I choose the fruit called date because it's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's favorite food to eat. He also breaks his fast with them. And dates are very nutritious and yummy to eat. That in the Quran, Allah told Baby Maryam to eat them while she was giving birth to Prophet Isa alayhi salam. And I think that's all for today's class. So I'll see you next one class. And have a great Ramadan class. Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to talk about the pomegranate. There is a chapter in the Quran called Anam. In this chapter, Allah talks about different fruits. One of these fruits is the pomegranate. Allah tells us to not waste all the seeds. We should eat all of them. Thank you, everyone. There's a surah, and it's a 13. Verses 4, and it's called the grapes. And you eat grapes because nighttime you need to fast, and you need to eat grapes every time when you fast so you can stay healthy and rest. Every mom and dad fast, and in the night they eat grapes. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Today I'm here to talk to you about ginger. Ginger is mentioned in Surah and Psalm. Allah mentions in Surah and Psalm, and they will be given to drink a cup whose mixture is of ginger. This is what ginger root looks like. It has a sweet and spicy flavor, and it has a very sweet smell. Ginger in Arabic is zanjabil. Ginger is known to help many parts of the body. It is good for the heart. It's helpful when you have a cold and flu. You can also mix ginger into drinks and food. Yum. All praise to Allah, sending us this beautiful creation. My name is Fatima. This is my sister named Maryam. So today we're gonna talk about another miracle in Quran. We're gonna talk about honey in the Quran. So the honey in the Quran. Maryam, can you tell me some more about it? Okay. So, did you know Quran has a chapter called Al-Nahl, meaning the bee? Chapter 60. There are so many verses that talk about honey in Quran. Verse 68, verse 69. Now let's talk about health benefits of honey. Honey heals skin, wounds, and burns. Honey anti-diabetic properties. Honey is good for the heart. Honey has rich in antioxidants. Honey improves cholesterol. Honey suppresses cough. Honey, and the last one, honey treats diarrhea. Make sure you eat honey every day. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. For both of us.
Thank you, Sister Zahra, and thank you for the Sunday school pre-K students. Did a great job making these 3 videos. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, jazakallah for all your efforts, Sister Zahra, and all the teachers of Sunday school with their kids preparing speeches and presentations. Now it's Ramin Zaidi's turn to talk about Usman Hasana. Ramin, are you ready?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Salam everyone. Today I'm going to talk about why we celebrate Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr means the festival of breaking the fast or the feast of the fast breaking. And as many of you know, it lasts for 3 whole days. So why do we celebrate Eid al-Fitr? There are many reasons, so let's begin. We celebrate Eid al-Fitr because the Quran is revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was the month of the revealing of the Quran, so why would we not celebrate this event? We also fast for 30 days, so that's another reason why we celebrate. We also celebrate to show gratitude, because this was a very holy month, wasn't it? So we need to show gratitude to Allah. When we fast, we come close to understanding the underprivileged. So we also celebrate for charity, which means that we should probably give to the underprivileged, especially during this month. You will also get a lot of sawab. In this month, Imam Ali said, "O Allah, bless us in the day of our fast breaking and let it be the best day passed over us." We also celebrate these joyous days to spread joy and happiness. That may be dangerous right now because of what's going on. But spreading is super easy. You don't need to give gifts, but you should pray for them and let them know you pray for them. Call them and don't forget to greet them a happy Eid. And on this holy occasion of Eid al-Fitr, let us be reminded to strengthen our ties with our kin, to fast the optional 6 days of Shawwal, to visit the graves of our dead brothers and sisters, and to recite the Quran at their graves to benefit them. On this note, I remind you to pay dua fitra on your family members before the sunset of this day. Also, one should not forget his or her to take care of his or her neighbors and to be kind to them. On one last note, this joyous occasion of Eid al-Fitr should not make us forget our brothers and sisters in other parts of the world who continue to suffer day by day. Even on a day like today, Eid al-Fitr, we ask Allah to relieve them and us from all calamities and ill return. We ask Allah to grant them and us goodness, prosperity, and victory with the return of Ramadan next year, inshallah. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you, Ramin. MashaAllah, very good presentation about Eid al-Fitr, and good job reminding people about paying their dues of Fitra, which is due after the Maghrib and is paid by the Namaz. As you know, we are not having Namaz Center, but we have a program. I'll be announcing detail later. Inshallah, we'll start the program with the Dua Nutbah first, then 15-20 minutes for Namaz, and then we have, after that, we have the khutbahs. Sheikh Mudaris will be leading a small prayer Jamaat in California, and we will be broadcasting his khutbah. After, it's going to be around 11 o'clock. I will post the details a little bit later, inshallah. But now, just to remind you, today we have Eid night with game night, and a lot of people have signed up for that, and I hope you guys are ready for Kahoot night tonight. Sister Afshin has posted the details how to participate and in the game. So inshallah, see you all tonight at 10 o'clock participating in the Kahoot night tonight. And if we feel like it's a big success and people have good times, inshallah, we'll try to host it on regular basis. One more thing, reminder about the donations for program fund and other expenses of the Quran. The address is in the announcement group and case and study group. Please mail your checks as soon as possible. And last, alhamdulillah, since the states governments have opening the state in a stepwise fashion and slowly and progressing, allowing more and more activities, we will inshallah start hosting regular Dua Kumal and Jumas prayer from next week, inshallah. So the first Dua Kumal will be on 28th and May, and Namaz Jamaat of Friday prayer will be on 29th. But we still have to be cautious and safe and have to follow certain guidelines. Inshallah, we'll announce the more details later on when we announce for Dua Kumal, but just it's normal frequency. We all should be taking these days to protect us and our loved ones from this virus. You know, we have to still maintain social distance from each other. 6 feet been recommended. Wash our hands frequently. Do not touch your face frequently without washing your hands. And no hugging or shake hands for now. And if you have running a fever, please do not come to the center to participate in any of these activities. And just not only running fever of 100 or more, but if you are sneezing, coughing, or any symptoms, even if you're feeling sick, just do not come to these programs. Inshallah, I think the government's cancers have announced from June 8, they will allow more number together. I think 45 by June 8, but we will take one day at a time. We'll start slowly with Dua Kumal and Jummah prayers first. But remember the precautions. We will be monitoring people's temperature when they come in to attend these programs. If somebody running fever, we will send them back. Normally we do not. Right now the guideline says 15 people is allowed in gatherings. And I think we should be okay for these two activities. But inshallah, if there are a lot of people try to come and we exceed this number, we have to turn people away. To keep that in mind. And hopefully it comes to the day when we have to turn people away from the Kumal. That means people came to the center to attend these activities. Normally we have about 5 to 10 people attending these programs of Dua Kumal and Juma prayers. But Alhamdulillah, we will start Dua Kumal from May 28th. So hopefully we'll see you then. We will also broadcast Dua Kumal from the center for the people who are home, so they can still participate in Dua Kumal from home. And as I said earlier, inshallah, after the program, I will announce the winners for the Quran recitation program. And one more time, thank you for the kids for the presentation. MashaAllah, all of them did a great job, whether it's a youth presenting and on different topics, or little ones reciting surahs, like, or videos prepared by the kindergarten section of Sunday school. They all did a great job. And Alhamdulillah, Allah bless them and help them with their efforts to continue with their activities and their participation in Az-Zahra Center on regular basis. Thank you again for today's presentation, and Sister Zora for that video with Lina, Lana, Mariam, and Fatima, and Suraya, and today's video. If I miss somebody, sorry about that.
And Mustafa.
I know everybody doing good job keeping their mics off, but tonight when we're playing the code game, I have to be extra careful about your mics off during the game. And like I said earlier, Sister Afshin have texted in the group about instructions. We'll send in the links for Zoom a little bit later, inshallah. Margobai, you want to?
Oh, inshallah, I can recite the Naat again. And when the Maulana come, I'll stop.
Inshallah.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Inshallah.
मेरा तो सब कुछ मेरा नबी है, सियाहियाँ मुझ में दाग मुझ में जले उसी के चराग मुझ में, असासाए क़ल्ब जाँ वही है, मेरा तो सब कुछ मेरा नबी है, मेरे गुनाहों पे उसका पर्दा, वो मेरा इमरूज मेरा फरदा, ज़मीर पर हाशिए उसी के, शऊर भी उसका वज़ा करदा, वो मेरा ईमान मेरा तयक्कुन, वो मेरा पैमानाए तमद्दुन, वो मेरा मय्यार जिंदगी है, मेरा तो सब कुछ मेरा नबी है, वो मेरी मंजिल भी हम सफर भी, वो सामने भी पसे नजर भी, वही मुझे दूर से पुकारे, उसी की परछाई रूह पर भी, वो रंग मेरा वो मेरी खुशबू, मैं उसकी मुट्ठी का एक जुगनू, वो मेरे अंदर की रोशनी है, मेरा तो सब कुछ मेरा नबी है। अजल के चेहरे बनूर उसका, ज़हूर उसका, खुद उसकी आवाज कुश्ताए हक, खुद उसकी तन्हाई तूर उसका। बहुत से जी एहतराम आए, खुदा के बाद उसका नाम आए। वो अव्वली है वो आखिरी है, मेरा तो सब कुछ मेरा नबी है। अल्लाह वसल्लम।
Since we have some time, Sister Zora, we still there. Can you talk about a little bit about the Kahur night tonight to give people a little bit heads up?
I think Sheikh is here.
Are you there?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Oh, assalamu alaikum, brother.
Sorry. Should I start or should I wait?
Well, inshallah, you ready?
Okay. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone.
Walaikum salam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إلهنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: ومن يعش عن ذكر الرحمن نقيض له شيطانا فهو له قرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. On the final hours of the 29th of the month of Ramadan, which is probably the final day of this blessed month, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that our a'mal and our efforts are maqbool and accepted. As Imam Ali alayhi salam, we have in one of the hikmah and one of the saying of Nahjul Balagha, Imam alayhi salam used to say on the day of Eid, that this is a Eid for those that their fasting is accepted and those that their prayers are appreciated. And then he said, كل يوم لا يعصى فيه فهو عيد. And any day that Allah is not disobeyed and this a sin is not committed, that day is a day of Eid and celebration. So I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the day of Eid al-Fitr is such a day for all of us, a day that inshallah we start a new chapter in our lives, that we are ready to have that ambition to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and shift our priorities to be Allah-centric and to remember that our priorities is the matter of akhirah and the dunya to be a mean and faculty for providing a built and a fruitful akhirah, inshallah, for all of us. Going back to our subject of ahkam, we talked about the rules regarding different related rulings of Eid al-Fitr, such as the rules of Zakat al-Fitra, the rules of Fidya and Kafara. And yesterday there was some questions about Eid prayer. I just have to make a correction. Yesterday they asked me about Jama'ah prayer, that is it required if you want to do Jama'ah of Eid prayer, is it required for a certain number of people? According to Ayatollah Sistani, it is not required to have 5 people. I just want to make sure that the Muqallideen of Ayatollah Sistani know the difference. It's not required to have 5 people for Eid prayers in Jama'ah. You can even have 1 person and that would be enough. Another question that people ask is about the number of qunut. What is well known among many ulama and scholars and many mujtahideen is that 5 qunut in the first rakat and 4 qunut in the second one. But Ayatollah Sistani said 4 and 3 also is enough and sufficient. So you can do 4 qunut and 3 qunut in the second rakat. But what is the common and accepted, because it is a mustahab prayer during the time of occultation, even we have that if somebody they have doubts about the number of qunut, that how many they've done, they consider to be the lowest number, and then they do it, and that's enough. It doesn't affect their prayers. But the number of takbirat or Allahu Akbars are important, which means in the first rakat there are 5 takbir. Means after you're done with the hamd and surah, there's 5 takbir. You say Allahu Akbar, and then you recite the qunut, mustahab, recommended, Allahumma ahl al-kibriya wal-azama. So there are 5 qunut, 5 takbir in first rakat. In the second rakat, there are 4 takbir, for Allahu Akbar. Just make sure that has to be done properly, the takbirat. And the qunut after that is up to you what you want to recite. As I said, there's a difference between ulama, what you can do 5 and 4, or 4 and 3 is up to you which one you want to go with. So the number of people for Jama'ah, as I say, is a correction from yesterday. I mentioned there's 5 people. That is for Jum'ah prayer. But for Eid prayer, according to Ayatollah Sistani, numbers are not conditioned. So you can do Eid prayers even with 2 people in Jama'ah if you want to. So that's regarding the rules of the Eid prayer for the day of Eid. Inshallah, you can do it furada at home. Remember, we cannot do Eid prayer Jama'ah from TV or from computer. The only purpose of having a person or a live broadcasting of Eid prayer should be used as a model, as an example to follow, not in Jama'ah. Your niyyat and intention between you and what is being broadcasted on YouTube or other platforms, it should be not Jama'ah. Unless you're going to Jama'ah at home, then you can make a niyyat of Jama'ah if you are doing the Eid prayer at Jama'ah at home. Doing 2 khutbah and 2 sermons after Eid prayer, even if you do it Jama'ah, is as ihtiyat. So you can do it at home. Let's say one option is that you listen to one that is online, that is offered, or if someone from the family is leading the prayer, they can prepare 2 short khutbah, 2 short sermons, that they can find a hadith from the Prophet, they can find one ayah from Quran, something that they know and they can explain quickly, and that would be enough. So they can have it on paper, they can have it on a device and read it from there. So they can do 2 khutbah and 2 sermons as well after Eid prayer. But if you don't do it, as I said, in furada, when you do it just by yourself, it does not have khutbah or sermon. Only if it's done in Jama'ah as ihtiyat, you do 2 khutbah or you listen to 2 khutbah from TV, inshallah. Okay, if you have any question, we will have the same platform as yesterday. It will be Slido, and our code is 1214, and hopefully we have we addressed and answered most of the question. But if you have any, we'll make sure we are going to answer all of them today with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help. And so it is making sure that I'm going to extend the date so you have no issue of people finding it. Okay, so inshallah, if you have any question, you can use the Slido or you can put it on the chat, whatever is your preference. So inshallah, on our final day of our discussion on the lessons that we can learn from the Quran and from the Prophet and his family's life, we talked about importance of justice and injustice. We talked about the danger of a shirk, and especially hidden and concealed shirk, which is riyah. And then we talked about underlying causes of riyah. We talked about impatience to being related to riyah. And we also talk about that impatience and greed also are connected, and they have similar underlying causes. So when we talked about hirs and greed, we talked about how to deal with it. We talked about the importance of dealing with dunya and recognizing the true face of dunya with remembering death. We talked about and we addressed fixing our perception about Allah and having a good opinion about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And third one was about ignorance and how knowledge is the cure, and how knowledge is a great investment and a great value and treasure and wealth compared with actual dunya and what we consider to be materialism. And lastly, we talk about rivalry and the danger of this competition in a matter of dunya that could lead to greed and somebody deciding to sacrifice everything important to them in order to get to that purpose and that goal that they have. And sometimes that's not even their goal. It's not even their ambition. It's somebody else's ambition and goal. So we talked about that as well and said one of the cure of riyah, one of the cure of greed and hirs according to Quran was salat. Because when we look at the ayah from Surah Ma'arij, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ هَلُوعًا إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِلَّا الْمُصَلِّينَ. There is an exception when it comes to people who are ungrateful, those who are going toward excess. One excess is those that when they are blessed, they become stingy and they start thinking selfishly. And then the other side, you have people who are, when they're facing calamities and tribulation in life, they are, they become hopeless. They lose that hope and they lose that connection that they have, and they start to express impatience, jaza, and they are grieving constantly. So in Surah Ma'arij, then Allah said there is exception to these rule of people who are impatient and greedy, illa al-musallin, except those who are establishing prayers. They are exception. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ. Then if you remember, I talked about that, inshallah, we have a kind of a depository prayer that people pray just as an investment. And there is no, they're not looking for any benefit. There no kind of effectiveness of prayer. They're only thinking, okay, this is just difficult. I don't enjoy it. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just going to do it because I want to go to heaven. That's one mentality and one approach toward prayers. And then we have people that pray for them as an ascension. Prayer is a stream that they purify themselves on 5 times a day, daily. And their approach is that this prayer, inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar, that this prayer is meant to purify me. It's supposed to stop me from temptation, from that inclination toward indecency, toward wrong. So that is the type of prayer that has that power of defeating greed. Not any kind of prayer, not just standing and doing prayer, have the same kind of quality and value. Because we just talked about that there are people, the Quran said, wailun lil musallin, woe upon those who are prayerful, woe upon those that they pray. And this is those that in their prayers they're negligent, they're heedless, they're ghafil, they're forgetful. So not every prayer is quality type prayer. So what are the prayer that we can call ideal prayers? Let's talk about that. Ideal prayer that has a power to, inshallah, we can use that, because one thing that we have all the time, all year long, is not like just Ramadan that we have it once a year, is the power and the magic of salat and prayer. So that's why, inshallah, ending with this note on the subject of salat, it's a very relevant subject, because that is, inshallah, what we have as a spiritual battery for the rest of the year. what will inshallah elevate us and give us the strength of becoming a better person, a better mu'min, a better believer, is prayer and salat. And it has the power to defeat our spiritual illnesses. If you're looking for a cure, if you're looking for medicine for the marad and the illness of the qalb and heart and soul, that's what it is, salat. But what kind of salat? What kind of ideal prayer we're looking for? Remember, we talked about Imam alayhi salam in Nahjul Balagha. Imam said that this is a Eid. So tomorrow is a Eid for somebody that their fasting is maqbool, right? So when you look at Nahjul Balagha, which I ask you inshallah to read, as we, again, sometimes we read Quran and we want to diversify, we want to read multiple things. As a akhul Quran, a brother to Quran, inshallah, a tafsir of Quran, Nahjul Balagha can play that role. So in Hikmah 428, Imam alayhi salam said, وقال عليه السلام في بعض الأعياد, Imam alayhi salam used to say it in some of the day of the festivity and Eid, إنما هو عيد لمن قبل الله صيامه. Eid is Eid for someone that Allah accepted their fast, not for those who fasted. You know, for example, right now, we saw the tragedy of a young sister getting shot in UK while she was fasting. This is a tragedy for humanity. And a lot of people just passed by this incident. And worse than that was when it turned out to be a Shia sister. Some so-called Muslim, they differentiated, they hold back, they ask for refund of their donation because she was Shia. It's a tragedy. So a person who's in that situation, that they see this kind of dhulm and injustice to somebody that because of their hijab, because of their faith, because of whatever we consider it. You have Imam Ali alayhi salam said that in the time of his Khilafah, a part of the Muslim territory, people were robbed. That the safety and security of that area was undermined. And the news was sent to Imam alayhi salam that this happened, that even some non-Muslims, some non-Muslim women, their jewelries were robbed and they were frightened that under Muslim protection, that's what happened to a non-Muslim even. Imam alayhi salam came to Mimbar and he addressed Muslims, said, today if all Muslim men, if they die from the grief and the shame of this tragedy, they deserve it. That on daylight, this happened to a non-Muslim, to any victim, and they were robbed. And that happened on daylight and no one did anything. You deserve to die for that. So the teaching of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is learning Quran by example. It's not just reciting Quran beautifully and crying. And then when it comes to matter of justice and injustice, to take you take your hand and said, oh, I'm not going to deal with this. So what kind of a fast is that? It doesn't let you even to back up and stand by the side of a madhloom and a maqtool, somebody was innocently killed. So Imam Islam, this is a Eid for somebody that their fasting is maqbool. And I'm asking you, will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept someone's fast that they are an accomplice to a crime? They are accomplice in an injustice and dhulm. وَشَكَرَ قِيَامَهُ. This is, Imam Islam said, the day of Eid is day of someone that their fasting is accepted. A day that their prayers are appreciated and will be rewarded. وَكُلُّ يَوْمٍ لَا يُعْصَى اللَّهُ فِيهِ فَهُوَ عِيدٌ. And any day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not disobeyed, a sin is not committed, that day is day of festivity and Eid. So inshallah, we're looking for a prayer, an ideal prayer that has that power, that has that ability to transcend the limitation of this dunya and can take us with it. So what kind of quality an ideal prayer has? A maqbool prayer, an accepted prayer, an effective prayer. Let's look at the Quran and teaching of the Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet to see what kind of prayer is that, because they are the ones who have the knowledge. The first one is الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ. Quran says not any kind of prayers, those who pray, but those who are persevere, they're consistent in their prayer. Da'imun, da'im is when something is continuous and consistent. So if somebody have that perseverance, that consistency with their prayer will be effective. When you talk about people who wants to exercise, they want to lose weight, they want to build muscle, they tell you that you just should not expect that you come 2 days, 3 days, and then miraculously you will fix all the problem and you lose, tens of pounds. If you do so, that's unhealthy. You have to come and you must have that consistency, that plan. The continuity has to be there. Spirituality is no exception. In order to get that impact we want on our soul, to make a soul that is strong, we need the consistency. We need that prayer. So those who are periodical Muslims, periodical prayer, seasonal prayer, will not have that quality. It's better than nothing. Don't take me wrong. It still have benefit. So let's say if somebody, they're not praying rest of the year, only in Ramadan they pray, may Allah inshallah guide them to continue that. Don't say that don't pray in Ramadan because you don't do it. Let them change. But for ourselves, as a reminder, remember this, just praying in Ramadan and then leaving everything and going back to normal after Ramadan, that was not the intention, that was not the purpose of fasting. Rather, it was meant to be a push to give us that advance beginning and start, to create that momentum, that we're able to build on that momentum and inshallah get stronger spiritually. So that is the first one from the teaching of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. We have in the tradition of Ahlul Bayt, they talk about dawam. That when it comes to our prayer, any good deed, the key is to have consistency. For example, hadith is narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah said that the best of action, what kind of action consider the best of action? Let me give you a few hadith so we know inshallah the Quran and the hadith together to make us have a better understanding of the word of the Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, أفضل العمل أدومه وإن قل. The most valuable, fadilat is about value, is about quality. If you're looking for an amal and an action that has the highest value and worth, is an action that is adwamuh, is the one that has dawam, has consistency, is not just sudden. That's why I tell people, those who suddenly become religious, this drastic change, that from, for example, a 180-degree shift. Yesterday, God forbid, drinking, haram, a relationship, haram money, everything. And then next day, right away, the exact next day, they're going to people, know why you're not praying. and they become an authority in religion. That drastic change is never good. Even when it comes to beginning of Islam, Islam introduced followers of Islam gradually to teaching of Islam. It wasn't overnight. Verses about zakat, verses about hurma and prohibition of intoxication and wine came later. It was a gradual introduction to Islam. That's why most of the Makki chapter, which if you look at Juz 30 of the Quran, most of the short chapters are Makki. They were revealed at the beginning of Islam. Even Quran and the approach of Allah with humanity is take it slow. Short verses, short chapters, most focus is on the principles of belief, day of judgment, believe in God. And then when you come to Medina, the time passes. These Muslims are now they're established a bit more. Let's go to details of the rules, the path of Islam, ahkam, rituals, then it goes to that field. So one thing about prayer, an ideal prayer is consistent. It's not the one that is sudden. That's why a good type of exercise, a good type of diet is not the sudden one that for a month you starve yourself and then for 11 months you go back to it. It's consistency. That continuity we're looking for. And that including when we are working with our children. Work with them a bit, but continuous. It's better to talk to them 5 minutes a day than just on Sunday and Saturday I speak to them 3 hours. It's that consistency, that presence over time is much better. And that's true about everything you can talk about. That even when we want to teach someone about Islam, don't overwhelm them. Teach about the priority. Somebody who is still struggling with wajibat, don't overwhelm them with mustahabbat. Let them first build their wajib and their obligatory responsibility. Establish that, then inshallah to mustahabbat. So ahadith of the Prophet and family of the Prophet Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam on this subject are quite, a lot of them are in this subject. So that's the first one. Alladhina hum ala salatihim da'imun. Those who are consistent, they have that perseverance in their prayer. That's the ideal and effective prayer according to Quran, Surah Ma'arij. Second one is وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. The second quality of effective prayer, ideal prayer, is that those who there is a known share in their wealth for the poor, for the one who asks for help, and for the one who's deprived. So as we look at Quran, Imam Rida alayhi salam said, you will see there are rules in Quran that they are adjoined, they're together, they're combined. One of those two that they are together and they're not, you cannot separate them, is يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة. Salat and zakat. Prayers and this charity are coming together. This infaq is coming together. And when you look at Imam Ali alayhi salam, the ayah, إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون. That the wali of Allah, as we say in adhan, raja'an, we say ashhadu anna aliyan waliyul adhan. We don't consider it to be part of adhan, but we say the raja'an, because Allah said, who is wali of Allah? Who is this responsibility of having the wilayat? Those that establish prayers, those who give zakat while they are in ruku. So salat and zakat are together, and as Imam Ali even did it in the same time. And I've heard people said, you know what, how you say that Imam Ali was so fall in love with Allah, that he was so focused in prayers. How did he pay attention to a faqir being close to him, that he was so deep in that relationship, in that conversation with God? How did he notice? And the answer to those people is that Ali alayhi salam's attention of the faqir is not to be distracted from Allah, is a still attention toward Allah. Because he's doing infaq fi sabilillah. You can have that objection if somebody, while they're praying, they're doing something for the sake of dunya. While they're praying, they're answering their texts as well. That is kind of inconsistent. But for somebody to give charity when faqir comes to them, to understand that this person is in need and they need your help, and this is the time I can help, and then you give your ring as a charity, as a zakat to them. That unfortunate short-sighting, limited understanding end up having people like Khawarij, that they didn't understand how Islam is. That for some people, it's makruh for somebody to walk in front of somebody who's praying. It's not haram. But for some people, it's such a big deal that if somebody walk in front of them, maybe they are in the middle of the path, maybe they're blocking the road, they break their prayers and go and start fighting with them. That's lack of understanding. So Quran said the effective prayer, a prayer that is able to defeat greed, illa al-musallin, is a prayer that you are also a person of charity. Not that you give your leftover, not because you give it out of pity. No. Fi amwalim haqqun ma'lum. In your amwal, in your property, in your wealth, you have a known share. Ma'lum means you designed it, you separated it, you assigned that part of your wealth, which is from the wealth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for you. Then you have share of that for sa'il. Sa'il is the one who asks, a beggar, the one who asks for help. And then you have mahroom. Mahroom is the one who's deprived, is the one who's also in need, but they don't ask. And we have in a riwayah and tradition under this ayah that's the difference. There are some people that are faqir, that they let others know that they are in need. They give them a call, they ask them in person. But there's some that they never say because of that dignity, because of that honor that they have. They don't ask for help, but they're still in need. So according to this, Imam Islam said you should recognize them. Let's say if somebody, they don't say something, without investigation, you can know that this person just lost their job. And you know that they're not living, in a house that's belonged to them. They're living a rental. And you know they have kids. So all you have to do is just put these dots together to know somebody has a problem. Even if they're not asking for help, at least you can offer them. Check on them. That person could be mahroom. In this pandemic, not everybody's going to give a call to community, brother, sister, help me, I'm in need. People have izzah. People have that respect, honor, and dignity that they don't want to reach their hand and raise their hand before someone else. Look at the beauty of Quran. It's not just to help those who are homeless and they're in need. Help those that you were not asked, but you understand that they're in need. That's why we have in the final wasiyat of Rasulullah to Imam Ali alayhi salam is this: Usika bis salati inda waqtiha. Ya Ali, my wasiyah to you, my advice to you is to pray on time. وحب المساكين ومجالستهم. After praying on time, the wasiyah the Prophet Imam alayhi salam is to love those who are needy, those who are faqir, those who are miskeen. Love them, not pity, love them. Because if I love only famous people, rich people, my personality it went through change. That the reason I love people because I love dunya, I love people who love dunya. But if I love humanity, I love nobility, I love virtue, I don't care about dunya. That's what I love. I will love faqir. A faqir that is virtuous, I love that person. Remember, we talked about that. Imam alayhi salam said, قَيْمَةُ كُلُّ امْرِئٍ مَا يُحْسِنُهُ. The worth of every person, the qiymat and worth of every person is what they like, right? What they admire. If you admire rich people and wealthy people, that's what your price is. If you admire taqwa, piety, and virtue, that's what the price is, that your worth is. وَمُجَالَسَتِهِمْ. Rasulullah said to Imam alayhi salam, to love them and then accompany them, sit with them, hang out with them. Because sometimes somebody come to our community and they're not as rich, as wealthy, as fortunate as we are. Yes, there's about kuf, there's about having similar status and all that in marriage, but we're talking about interacting with people, sitting down with people. Our communities are not networking centers that you just network with professionals in your own field. Our community is about ukhuwa, is about brotherhood and sisterhood. That I go there not to professionally network. Yes, that could be one of the benefit. I find somebody who have similar interests as me. That's fine. That's not forbidden, but it should not be the only objective. When I go to my community, to my masjid, to my Islamic center, I'm there to find that sisterhood and brotherhood, that bond because of faith, and everything else is secondary, is not primary. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, خصلتان من كانتا فيه وإلا فعذب ثم عذب ثم عذب قيل وما هما. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said there are two merits, two khasla, that if it wasn't someone, you can approach them, get close to them. But if they didn't have these two qualities, fa'azib, escape them, leave them, and Imam repeated 3 times, leave them, run away from them if they didn't have these two qualities. What are the qualities? And the Imam was asked, qila wa ma huma. They asked, what are those merits? What are those qualities? Imam said, as-salatu fi mawaqitiha wal muhafadhatu alayha wal muwasat. First, Imam said, is prayer on time. Those that they care about their prayers. Remember, those that they care about their prayers. They care about the relation they have with Allah. And protecting their prayers means they're mindful. They are attentive to their prayer. And wal muwasat, they're also generous in giving. They are generous in infaq. So salat and zakat, going back to Quran, these are the people you have to get close to. So the third quality of effective prayer, we said the first one is that consistency and perseverance in prayer. Second is having a known part of your wealth for the poor and needy, means you are giving, you are doing infaq, as we have salat and zakat together, mostly in Quran. And then the third quality, Quran says, وَالَّذِينَ يُصَدِّقُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. Those that they are affirming the day of retribution. يُصَدِّقُون, tasdeeq is that when you affirm. Sometimes you hear something, but in the back of your mind said, I don't agree with the Shaykh. My silence is not every silence is not affirmation. Sometimes I'm quiet, I don't say anything, I don't respond, because again, I don't have the time or I don't want to engage in a dispute. But in the back of my mind, I don't affirm it. But Quran says in the day of judgment is the same. Some people, they don't talk about it, but in their heart, in their mind, they don't affirm the day of judgment. They don't really believe in it. To them, said, I don't really know. So if you want your prayer to be effective, the third is that you come to that certainty, that affirmation about day of judgment, about day of retribution. Because if somebody knows the meaning of day of judgment, then they understand the value of soul, because that's what it will be. Then they know the value of their good deeds, their righteous deeds. They know the value of servitude and obedience of Allah, because I know about day of judgment. But if I'm someone that all I know and I care and I confirm is this dunya and my senses, I touch whatever is tangible, I believe in it. Anything that is not, I don't believe in. For that person, you cannot believe and you cannot expect them to have an effective prayer. But somebody remember day of judgment and confirm day of judgment. They affirm it. This is that their knowledge leads them to believe that life is more than this, that we were not meant to just live for 70, 80 years and that's it. They come to that understanding that justice has to be somewhere, that if a child is innocent, killed, as Quran says, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ, what was the sin of that girl who was buried alive? And to those so-called Muslim who backed off, going back to that innocent Shia sister who was killed in UK. Quran says that when those children who were, their parents were idol worshippers, they were mushrikeen, they buried their daughters. Quran said, we don't care about the religion of that child. What religion? That child was innocent. بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. Quran said, what was the crime? What was the sin? What they've done to you that you killed them? Same thing should be said about this sister to so-called Muslim, that Quran cares about those children from mushrikeen, and then you have double standard when it comes to Shia. You should be ashamed of yourself. But again, inshallah, that's not the majority of Muslims. Hopefully, majority of Muslims have that ability to understand that dhulm and oppression and tyranny is unacceptable, regardless of who are we dealing with. So let me conclude, inshallah, this subject. So the third quality of effective prayer, Quran said, is that they are affirming day of judgment. We have in Surah Muddathir, Quran says, in the day of judgment, some people, intercession was not accepted about them. They didn't receive intercession. It was not helpful. So if you want shafa'ah of Ahlul Bayt, there are conditions according to Quran, according to Hadith. It's not just a blank check that they give it to everyone. It's something that people who deserve to receive it, they receive it. When we have that in the conversation between people of hell, those who are in hell, and people from heaven, they're asking, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرَ. They're being asked, what happened that you end up in hell? What did you do wrong? And people of hell, they answer, لَمْ نَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We didn't pray. That was our first fault. We were not people who cared about salat and prayer. Second, وَلَمْ نَكُنْ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. Look at the beauty of Quran. Everything there, you see it here. Second, we didn't feed the needy and poor. We didn't do it'am. We didn't help. Third, وَكُنَّا نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. We hanged out with the wrong people, with the wrong crowd. Our close companion and buddies were lost, and we would get lost with them. And fourth, وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. So we denied the day of retribution. We turned away from it. We ignored it. حَتَّى أَتَاكَ الْيَقِينُ. Until death came. The certainty of death came. فَمَا تَنْفَعُهُمْ شَفَاعَةُ الشَّافِعِينَ. Because we didn't pray, because we didn't feed the poor, because we accompanied with the wrong people, with the lost people, misguided people, and because we denied the day of judgment, فَمَا تَنْفَعُهُمْ شَفَاعَةُ الشَّافِعِينَ. The mediation and intercession was not helpful to us. We did not receive it. So inshallah, if you want effective prayers, if you want shafa'ah, remembrance of day of judgment, remembrance of day of retribution, and confirming it, coming to that knowledge is the key. The fourth one, وَالَّذِينَ هُم مِّنْ عَذَابِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. Effective prayer is those kind of people who pray, but in their prayer, they are apprehensive of the punishment of the Lord. They don't remember the punishment of Allah. إِنَّ عَذَابَ رَبِّهِمْ غَيْرُ مَأْمُونَ. There is indeed no security from the punishment of their Lord. So they remember adhab. As we said in dua, Jawshan al-Kabir, Subhanak ya la ilaha illa ant. Al-Ghawth, Al-Ghawth, Khallisna minan nar ya Rab. When you say Allah, free us. Khalas and khallis. Free us from the punishment of fire is that remembrance. That min adhabi rabbi mushfiqun. The fifth one, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. An effective prayer is the one that those who guard their private parts. إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ. Except what is halal to them, except when it comes to their spouses. And then we come to number 6, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Those that they are keep their trust and covenant. If they gave their words, they stand by their words. Their promise means something. Their words means something. They're trustworthy. That kind of people have effective prayers. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِشَهَادَاتِهِمْ قَائِمُونَ. Those that in their testimonies, they are observant, they're truthful. If they're asked to be a witness, they have that observance in their testimonies. These are the 7 qualities that Quran says. If you want to go again, once again, and wrap up, inshallah. The qualities of effective prayer, a prayer that is able to heal us, to purify us, that is not just a depository prayer, is a prayer that is working on us and benefit us as we pray, and inshallah in the day of judgment and after, rather than just waiting it for others. Is a prayer that has consistency, perseverance, a prayer that is accompanied by charity and infaq, and caring for those who are deprived and those who are in need. A prayer that is accompanied by the belief and affirmation of the day of retribution, day of judgment, a belief in life after death. A prayer that is accompanied by fear of Allah's punishment and Allah's anger. A prayer that is accompanied by decency, by chastity and modesty, and is not tainted by indecency. A prayer that is accompanied with trustworthiness, with fulfilling your promise and covenants. And lastly, number 7, a prayer that when it comes to testimony, when it comes to being a witness, is accompanied with truthfulness, and they're observant with their testimonies. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad salawatullah wa salamu alayhi wa alayhim, grant us the tawfiq of understanding and learning Allah's message, the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our religion of Islam, and to understand Islam through the teaching of the worthy successors of the Ahlul Bayt, true successors and worthy successor of the Prophet, Ahlul Bayt and the household of the Prophet and the Quran, inshallah. May Allah grant us the tawfiq of amal, action, implementation, because if we know more and more and more by reading, by listening, if we're not going to act, if we're not going to make a change, that knowledge becomes a burden. That knowledge becomes a responsibility. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala free us from laziness, from boredom, from carelessness, and lead us to strength, motivation, courage, and ambition toward His cause and toward, inshallah, closeness and taqarrub to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's, inshallah, look at the questions. So they ask about the Eid. Has the moon been seen? Please tell us what the ruling of the Rahbari and ruling of Ayatollah Sistani is? Is it Eid tomorrow? Remember that where we live matters, and which we are in North America. Whatever happened in rest of the world, in other continent, what happened in the East is not going to matter, because moon sighting is a factor that is just related to the regions, and then those regions who are proximately have the same ufuk, the same horizon. So definitely it has nothing to do what's happening in Iraq or Iran or that area. At where we live, still there's no, the sunset still is not there. So I don't know about our area, but most likely moon will be sighted tonight because of the, astronomical calculation. It will be easily visible with the naked eye. And based on that, both mujtahideen means Rahbari and Ayatollah Sistani. Because Rahbari said with the optical aid, like with binoculars, also is permissible. So last night was not seen by any of that. So tomorrow is going to be Eid, inshallah, most likely. Again, I always say inshallah for both of followers of Rahbari and Ayatollah Sistani, because tonight, if it's seen by the naked eye, definitely is going to be seen with the optical aid. So inshallah, tomorrow is Eid. I'm not sure about other regions in the East Coast, if they saw it or not, but I hope they did. But I have to double check, because right now I was in the speech, and if it's even 3 hours time difference, 5 o'clock was 8 o'clock in the East Coast in New York or in Virginia. So probably they sighted the moon. Let me see if I got any email. Yes, it was announced. Moon was sighted. One of my friends, Sheikh Ammar Haydari, he sent us even a photo of the moon being sighted. So Eid Mubarak to you in advance. Inshallah, tomorrow is the day of Eid because moon was sighted. So that's for all the muqallideen of both mujtahideen. Tomorrow, inshallah, is Eid. So because you are in, I think in 2 hours different time zone, it is definitely Eid for you as well. Okay. So they're asking if somebody is in a deathbed and basically they call muhtadar, is it recommended to recite a certain surah or any certain du'as? So the answer to that is that you can pretty much see it. Recitation of Quran overall, it's recommended to be recited. So just make sure what is mustahab is that to make sure to face them toward Qibla, that they have to be facing Qibla. Is mustahab to talqeen, or remind them or try to help them say shahadatain and the belief in the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. There is a dua that Allahumma ghfir li al-kathir min ma'asik waqbal minna al-yasir min ta'atik is a short dua. You can find it in Islamic laws book. It's mustahab to give that and talqeen that. Is mustahab to take the one who's muhtadar, is on the brink of death, is to take him to where he used to or she used to pray. Musalla is mustahab. And the surahs that are mustahab, that is good for the comfort of the soul of the person, is Surah Yasin, Surah Safat, Surah Ahzab, and Ayatul Kursi. These are mustahab to be recited. And is makruh, is detested, not recommended, to put something heavy on her or his chest, to talking a lot around him or her, crying too much. And these are some of the makruh amal when somebody is muhtadar, when he or she is in the deathbed. So inshallah, that is the answer to the su'al, a person in the deathbed. So No, there is no surah that you should not. No, the surahs that is mustahab to be recited, I mentioned. Surahs that are mustahab, Surah Yasin, Surah Safat, Surah Ahzab, Ayatul Kursi, last three verses from Surah Baqarah, which are the verses Amana Rasulu bima unzila ilayhi min rabbi wal mu'minun. These are some of the mustahab parts of the Quran, but recitation of any part of the Quran is fine. Okay, Eid Mubarak once again to all of my dear brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your a'mal and efforts in this blessed month. Keep me in your du'as and prayers, and especially to children. They mentioned it here. Eid Mubarak to you. Inshallah, you have a joyous Eid with your family, and families, inshallah, try to make them a day of memorable Eid. Do something about decoration of the house. Even giving gifts and Eid is good. Inshallah, it creates that impact on their lives that they notice Eid and is a day of joy and happiness for us, inshallah. If there's any other question, you can ask, but let's see. He lives in Virginia. I know that is in Virginia, but I just got also an email from Office of Sayyid Sistani. They say it was in Charlotte, in North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia. These are the ones that have been cited, but most likely we will be able to cite it. So if you look at the horizon we're talking about, if in the east side of the US and west side, we'll see it in the middle part. Usually they share the same horizon. So yeah, alhamdulillah, they cited, they posted the link. Okay, so that was the answer to the question of our sister. It's been cited in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Richmond, Virginia. And as we are getting closer to sunset, probably more reports will come, but this will be sufficient. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, brother, for all your time, for giving lecture the last 15 days. Really appreciate your presence and your knowledge. And inshallah, jazakallah khairah for all your efforts. Please remember us in the du'as. This is thank from the community and board of Az-Zahra Center for your lectures and enlightening talks. Inshallah, we'll talk later.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak. As you heard, Sheikh, that more been cited, and the Imam have the Imam US declared that Eid is for the whole United States for tomorrow, inshallah. So one more time, Eid Mubarak. Before I go any more announcements, quickly, before I announce the names of the winner for the Quran recitation, I just want to thank you all, the kids of Sunday school, from youth, Hassan, Razia, Amin, Ruba, Izan, Zahra, Alize, Muhammad, Ibrahim, Shayan, Ramin, Muhammad Ali, Rida, Raina, Aveen, Sakina for the presentations, and all young reciters, Ali Naqi, Hassan, Hussein, Zainab, Zoha, Lina, Fatma, Mustafa, Mariam, Suraya, Lana, Hassan, Zain, for their beautiful recitation of the surahs. Now it's time to announce. Now the Quran reciting committee was divided into 3 groups. For the young ones under age 6, there was committee is for to memorize surahs, and we have one winner, Fatma, who memorized 2 surahs this year, and she was working on 3rd when I last heard. So she will be the winner for that group for reciting 2 surahs, salawat. And for the second group from age 6 through 10, the winner is Amin, who have read Quran through Surah Yusuf, ayat 37. And our 6-year-old Maryam is the second winner, who read Quran through Surah Nisa, ayat 127. And Mustafa is the third winner, who has read through Surah Al Imran, ayat number 10. So these are 3 winners for the second group from age 6 through 10. Amin will be the first one, Mariam second, and Mustafa Hamdani third. And for the older group, we have 2 participants this year, Muhammad Shabir and Ibrahim, and they both finished the Quran this year, same time. So I think for the grand prize for finishing Quran in the month of Ramzan, they have to share the prize between these 2, Muhammad Shabir and Ibrahim Abbas. Both, alhamdulillah, finished the Quran this year in 1 month. Jazakallah for the efforts. They did work hard. It's not easy, especially in this age, and school and classes were going on at the same time, but they did a great job, alhamdulillah. And hopefully we have more kids next year who will finish Quran in months of Ramadan. So when we inshallah resume our normal activities in center, we will have an award ceremony for these kids, and they will get their prizes for these competitions. And again, one more time, thank you for all the kids and their teachers from Sunday school preparing and working with program committee to have these kids prepare presentations and participate in the program. Hopefully we'll continue these activities for these kids in future as well. So thank you for all your presence and attending the program online. As I said earlier, inshallah, we will start Dua Kumal in person and Jummah prayers in center for the end of this week. Remember the precaution that we have to take when you come to the center, and inshallah, slowly, gradually resume other activities in center as well. And see you inshallah at 10 o'clock for Kahoot Family Night.